Hi, welcome to White Hat versus Black Hat SEO show. My name is Josh Bachynski. With me, as always, I have my friends Steve Fantasia and Ted Kubaitis. Say hi, guys.
How's it going, everybody?
Today, we're very lucky. Both Steve and Ted will be making a presentation today. Steve will be presenting about Facebook because that's what he knows about. He's got some really interesting stats on low cost per click for global kind of Facebook ads that he'll talk to us about. And Ted has improved his software, his crazy, I like to call it competitive analysis on steroids software, Cora SEO correlation software. And he'll be presenting some information about that. We're going to do some live demonstrations on air. So if you want to get your URL checked out and/or the search page you want to rank for, like let's say I want to rank for best red apples, he would check best red apples and he would check the top 10 to see all the ranking factors of what they're using and what they're doing. And if you've noticed we're going to do that a little bit later on in the show. So in the chat now, make sure to get your search queries to us. And when I see one, I'm going to copy and paste it and put it in the chat so that it takes a couple of minutes, especially with all the offsite factors, it could take a couple of minutes to run a report. So Ted's going to try and run some reports for us and give us some information on that. I got the private investigator Edinburgh, I got the hammocks, I got the other ones that people already submitted. So submit your search queries and we're going to check them out live on air, and you can see all the secrets that your competitors are using to rank, factors that you may not even thought are ranking factors or could even be important. We're going to check all those out. And also, you might have noticed on the bottom here, we have Chase Reiner, man on the street, who is walking around Santa Barbara looking for the SEO secrets. He seems to be in a Whole Foods of some sort.
I think today's his day to be a secret shopper.
he seems to be looking for the SEO secrets in Whole Foods. So hopefully he'll be able to come out and give us some information later on the show, or at least he can tell us, how his food is tasting or something along those lines.
Yeah, I think he's trying to make an Asian salad.
It looks like he's trying to make an Asian salad. I don't know how he's going to make it rank for Asian salad. I'm not sure how he's going to do it. Okay. Good. People are starting to put the search queries in here. Good. I'll put them in here. And we may not be able to do all of them. I said the first ones will get preference. So if you want us to do it, now would be a good time to put it in the chat there. Okay. So while we're doing that, though, I'm going to give Steve a chance to start talking to us about some of his crazy Facebook stuff that he's doing. So Steve Fantasia, why don't you share your screen and take it away?
All right, let's see if we have the technology here. Okay, I did. Did you see it?
Steve can figure out how to share his screen. Yes.
I think I did it. Oh, sweet. Okay, good. So, hey, I just wanted to show everybody real quick. One of the things that we get is people thinking that they can only get clicks through SEO. I know this is an SEO show, so that's probably why they think that. But I wanted to show just some low-cost clicks that are possible on Facebook. In this map right here, I just wanted to show everybody, these are some of the top countries in Facebook that you can actually advertise to. You can go into Brazil. I'm in Spain, Hong Kong, France, England, Portugal, US, Canada, India, and I just started in Indonesia. So those are just countries that you can advertise to. They're all English speaking, or predominantly, and you can get some low-cost clicks. I mean, here's one right here. It's a financial industry. It is an affiliate, so he drives traffic to his site. He gets paid by leads, and right now he's paying 6 cents per click. That's euros, so he's European. So it's actually about 7 cents because of the the conversion rate. But here, check this out: 12.24 click-through rate. So I mean, you can get some really good engagement. And this person here did a lot of SEO and is doing Google ads for a while. And the Google ads just got too expensive, so he just was trying to find some more alternatives. Same thing with this one. It's an e-commerce. Again, it's in Europe. But I just started this one up today and getting 11 cents per click. So, I just wanted to enlighten these viewers that, I know the world is all about SEO at this show. I don't know why. It's an odd show, but I just wanted to show everybody because I know everybody loves the idea of Facebook and low-cost web clicks. So that was just kind of what I wanted to show everybody.
Now, that was on two different niches. That was an e-commerce niche and a financial niche.
Yeah. So this one over here is e-commerce. It's kind of a weird e-commerce. It's a specialty niche, like just really weird products. Actually, when they called me, they weren't even sure that I could advertise for it. And that's the kind of thing that we can do. Through the targeting and the interest, it's pretty low cost.
Cool.
That was my little presentation. I was going to do an interpretive dance, but I figured it might not, that might not work. So.
Oh, well, I've seen your chicken dance, and it's quite good.
Yeah. I can bust a move. So.
I just noticed that Clint Butler was nice enough to join with us. Thanks, Clint. Say hi, Clint.
Hey guys, how you doing?
We're doing great. So just to get you catch up, Steve just did a presentation on Facebook and how some of the, I think the upshot there is that a lot of people are. I just got an email about this week, and it drives me crazy. So it's time for the rant-hand section of the show. I will now be presenting the rant-hand for you. Chase will be rant-handing while he's driving. Chase, be very, very careful while you're driving, please. Hands on the wheel. Hands on the wheel, Chase. Stop it. Stop it. This is really bad. This is not good. My old man genes are freaking out. My uncle. I'm not a dad. I'm an uncle. My uncle genes are freaking out right now. I get emails should I do AdWords? Is AdWords worth doing? And I think, again, Steve has mentioned every week and this week as well. He's showing you, look at, there is no way in hell you're going to get a 12% conversion rate on AdWords at 11 cents per click in the financial industry. There's no way in hell. And if you think it only applies to the US, well, remember he has good numbers in Canada, Brazil, the burgeoning world, and over in Europe as well. So it really is something to consider. Facebook is this, who would have thunk it? Facebook is this incredible mine of traffic that no one even knew existed, right?
Yep. That's why it's so cheap, because people aren't advertising on it.
Right. So get on now before everyone and their dog and their uncle decides to get on Facebook and advertise on it, and then the costs will. What do you think they will increase, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're going to quadruple, quintuple. It's just a matter of time. I've said this a couple of times. 53 million businesses have a Facebook page, but only 3 million are actively advertising. So there's a lot of room to spread out and play out here for people who have a little bit of budget and a pretty good site. It's going to go up.
Yeah. Now, of course, it's interesting what you just said. You have to have a pretty good site. You can send all the traffic you want in the world to a crappy site. They're probably not going to convert. They might. It depends on the site. But making sure your site is optimized for conversions is a good thing to do, both for SEO and for Facebook. Otherwise, you can send all the traffic to it in the world you want at 0.001 cent a click. You're not going to make any money.
Yeah.
And so, Clint, this is my introduction for Clint to what we're doing. And today, I don't know if you noticed, but Chase he's a reporter on the street in Santa Barbara. He's looking for the SEO secrets. And he just went to Whole Foods, and I don't know how many SEO secrets he found there, but he'll be trying to find the SEO secrets in California. He found 3 SEO secrets.
Next to the Asiago chicken.
Right. And he's making me nervous. He really should be paying attention to the road. Pay attention to the road, Chase. Get your hands on the steering wheel. This is making me nervous. Okay. So with that, let's move over to Ted to see if Ted has got any of this reports built up yet. If you want Ted to do a report, people, I know Clint, I think because I think you've been using the software, but Ted has a very powerful SEO correlation software where he can check thousands of sites in your particular niche for whatever the ranking factors are. And so we've been asking our lovely viewers to provide us with search phrases that we can use to put into the software, and so you can see what the important SEO correlations are, what the SEO factors, all the SEO factors that people are using on page 1 versus page 10. And you can get a graph and get an idea if it's a good factor or a bad factor to use. And we're plugging that into the software. We're getting that for these folks right now. Ted, do you have anything to show us yet?
Sure. Yeah. Let me share my screen. I'm going to go into 3 slides to basically show what the software is, and then I'll switch out of that and jump into the actual results that have finished so far.
Perfect.
And, my apologies to anyone that doesn't get their keywords analyzed today. If you give us your email address, I can run those after the show and send you data too.
Yeah, you can email me, bachynski@gmail.com, or email Ted at...
Just go to the SEO Tool Lab website, go through the contact form. That's the best way. It goes right to me.
There you go, SEO Tool Lab. Google it. Google's this new thing you can search. It's great.
Yeah, help my click-through rate.
Yeah.
So, all right, let me share screen.
While you're setting that up, just want to go on public record to say that Ted is my man crush for 2017. No one's going to be replacing him because this software is just that cool.
Thank you. Are you guys seeing my slides?
We sure are, yeah.
Excellent. So I just released 2.0. 2.0 of the software has one main difference from version 1. Version 1 measured over 300 on-page SEO factors and correlates them with rank position in Google to let you know which ones move the needle. Version 2 is integrated with Ahrefs, so you could tell the software to use your Ahrefs account, and it'll pull all of the off-page factors and correlate those as well. Keep in mind when you are looking at the output of this software, it often talks about match counts, and match counts means what Google considers a relevant hit. So if you type in keywords, Google finds synonyms and partial matches, and there's a long list of things that Google considers a relevant hit, and match counts find all of those, and we count those as matches within your context for your keywords. This slide, which looks like, digital noise, this is actually the spreadsheet of the factor measurements zoomed way out. And each row in this spreadsheet is a different search engine factor. And the orange you see near the top, those are the statistically significant factors. We found a trend there where those factors appear to move the needle in terms of rankings. And so you can see we're pulling a lot of factors going down the screen and a whole lot of top search results as we go horizontally on the screen. Each column of data where you see the yellow dots, each column there, that's a different search result in their factor measurements.
So Google says they track 200 factors, over 200 factors. We're tracking over 370 factors right now?
Over 400 with version 2.
Right. Screw you, Google.
And so here I've zoomed into that orange part, the interesting part where we find the factors that appeared to move the needle for the search term. And you can see that we have our correlation coefficients. Those are the orange and blue. And the gray bar, that's the average factor measurement by page for the first 10 pages. And then after that, we have the factor measurements for each search result. And then what I can ultimately do with this software is if you rank in that top 100 search results, I can go find your website. In this example, the website that might be yours is result number 15. And I can compare result number 15's factor measurements with result number 1 in the page 1 average. And so I can see exactly how your SEO tuning differs from your competitors who rank above you. And then the feature that I mentioned before, permitting the software to use your Ahrefs token. The way you do that in the software is you go to settings and you click the button to permit Quora to use it. And it'll open a default browser that asks, do you really want to let Quora use your account? And if you say yes, it'll permit the software. And you can control your API spend with Ahrefs by checking these boxes. They have different API costs. And with the minimum plan they have, if you did everything, you could use up your usage with about 20 keywords within a month. But if you don't do all of them, you can get the off-page data for up to 250, and that's what their minimum plan. And with that, I'll switch over to a real example.
Look at that. That was a nice graph.
Well, we can go into those. I have some amazing factor graphs, but let's go through a real world example. So let me find where I put that.
Steve.
Okay, are you seeing my Excel spreadsheet?
Yep.
Okay, so this is for the private investigator Edinburgh. And it had a website that was ranking number 3. So we're looking at a number 3 website. We want to see what the data tells us about how they could be ranking better. So,
right, Ted. So you broke up there a bit. So this is the private investigator Edinburgh. That's the search.
Yeah.
Edinburgh.
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 Sorry. I want to apologize to the UK right now for everything we just said.
I'm on the call. Edinburgh.
Okay. So we saw them ranking number 3 for the search result. And so I went to my data and I highlighted their column yellow here so we can see their factor measurements. And what I can do to simplify this is what I do when I help customers, people that hire me to help them. I run the software for their keywords and I just hide the columns that I don't need to see. So I hide all the websites that rank below them, not interested in those. And this guy's already on page 1, so I don't care about the average metrics for page 2 through 10. So we'll hide those. And we don't need all of the correlation columns, so I'll just keep the best of both.
So what are some good takeaways for this guy for what he has to do to get more in line with what his competitors have?
Well, we could see right off the bat, he is underwater. Let me highlight these a different color. So he's underwater on his title matches. He is a little bit underwater on his meta description matches. We can see that he's underwater. Yeah, he's underwater in a lot of keyword matches. So
he has to beef those up, or he doesn't have enough keyword matches in key places.
Like here within the body tag, he has 104 keyword matches on page. Result 1 has 443 matches per page, and the average result on page 1 has 218, more than twice his match count.
I see. So go over that. That's important. So let's go over that again so people can make sense of these numbers they're looking at.
So here on this source, let me pull up this particular chart. So I have these nice factor IDs here. They're helpful in finding the right chart on the chart column.
Okay.
So I switch over to charts. I search for that factor ID.
Here we go.
And so here we are looking at the number of matches in the web page HTML source. So at the bottom of this chart, we have the page numbers. So page 1, page 2, page 3. On the y-axis, we have the number of matches the average result on that page has. And so there's strong correlation saying that they need to have at least 267 matches on page. And the reason this is important is there's a relevance algorithm called TF-IDF, and all search engines use a variation of that algorithm to determine relevance between the results coming back and your search terms.
Right.
And so you need to have a competitive amount of usage of the term in order to get the most relevance, to compete on that relevance front. And so what we often find is people who say it the most tend to win on that particular factor.
Yeah, who say at the right amount, right? Because if you look at page 8, it correlates really higher with way more keywords. There is a stuffing. There's a point where you get too much, and there is a detriment in the algorithm.
Ted knows that what I'm doing with these as well is probably the same thing he is, but to be clear, it's not 267 of the usage of private investigator Edinburgh, right? It's the combination of those 3 words in the HTML code.
Yeah, and all the synonyms that Google deems as a relevant hit. So if you remember that slide where I had all the examples of what Google thought was a hit, it's all of those words. So you might consider it, the LSI keywords, so to speak, but the way my software works is it pulls all of the words that Google highlights as a relevant hit from the search results. So we know exactly the ones Google considered.
So in this particular case, it could also be triggering on private sleuth Edinburgh, private dick Edinburgh.
Correct. And
sorry, I had to do it. I'm sorry.
I thought the same thing.
I have this match words row, and it gives you everything that Google considered to be a relevant hit. So you have the whole list in the output.
Right, because it's not just simple keywords anymore. It's with Hummingbird, it's all the plurals and all the exact synonyms. It's swapping all those out.
Yeah, and look at this. This is a new factor in version 2. On page TF IDF. So there's the algorithm. I now calculate it, and there it is correlating as being relevant. So all these match counts, there's the algorithm that Google is very likely using something very similar to. And I'm taking, to calculate that, people are going to wonder if they're mathematicians, how am I doing the IDF part? Because the IDF part means you have to know how many documents are out there for this keyword. Well, Google gives us the estimate. So I take the number right out of the search results, plug it into the TF IDF equation, make the calculation, correlate it with rank position. And so, yeah, I mean, that's what we do with the software. So I can see right now that this guy has a lot of content work to do. He has to get laser focused on tuning his pages for target search terms. Probably needs to be focused to one keyword on one page and then really optimize it. And clearly he's only halfway there to reaching competitive parity. So I would tell him to focus on his content a great deal, and that will probably get him the best bang for the buck.
Sweet. Did you have any of the other reports done yet, or did you want to go over some of the graphs of the ones you prepared?
Well, let me take a quick look. I have hippie clothes.
Okay, someone did. What was the search query there? They submitted hippie clothes. Yeah, and this was for the UK, but it doesn't really matter. Their site was hippieclothingshop.co.uk.
Well, let's see if they're in this result.
I probably failed to tell you that, so you're probably going to show them the US results. But.
So they're hippieclothingshop.co.uk.
Yep. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, I probably did the wrong search term, so I'll have to apologize for them. But if they were this number 52, hippieclothingcompany.co.uk, we'd do the same thing. We'd go to our data. We'd go out to number 52. There it is. Your website, in theory. Then we'd hide all these other results.
And so while Ted's doing that, if you want to get more search queries in, it might be possible for us to do a couple more. Chase, I see that you're done eating now. Did you find the SEO secrets in your exploration of Santa Barbara? He gives the thumbs up. He says yes. He did indeed find them. Fantastic. You said you found three SEO secrets? Awesome, 3. Okay, good. Well, hopefully he'll be able to report on those in a later show. Okay.
So
Somebody, while you're doing that, Ted, somebody asked, can they plug in their Majestic data instead of Ahrefs?
you know, I am really grumpy about Majestic because they make you buy their most expensive package possible in order to create apps. And Ahrefs, they're completely different. They're like, yeah, you can create applications with any of our accounts at any level. We want you to integrate your tools for our users. And so I'm kind of in this fight with Majestic to be able to even integrate. But I'm working on it. I very much want to. And I'm hoping that it can get ironed out and that I could have that as a version 2.5 in the very near future.
Okay, so what do we find for this hippie clothes search query?
Well, if they were this number 52 website, which I don't believe they were, so I owe them a keyword report. But if they were, I mean, we could see right off the bat that their factor measurements are not up to snuff. They're ranking 52 for a reason. Mm-hmm. What I find interesting with this particular one, this was an e-commerce query, is looking for hippie clothes.
Yeah.
Backlinks came into play right away, and specifically image backlinks.
Interesting.
And so, you know, that makes sense with product photos and Pinterest and social shares and all of those kinds of things.
So they need to go up. It seems to be only 4 there. I'll highlight your graph so we can look at it.
Yeah, and oops, let me close that. This other interesting one, Google result uses HTTPS. This is an e-commerce search, so it's important that your online shopping is secure. So this might be one of those cases where there is an HTTPS ranking boost because it's your money or your life related type of query.
Right, and that's exactly the verbiage that Google uses, YL, your money or your life.
Yeah, and it's good to see that this website does have that factor sufficiently. So, you know, it looks like some of the things they're lacking are, you know, getting their images out there, getting the schema markup on their images. Their match counts aren't sufficient. So they'd want to do a better job of on-page tuning and doing the right markup involving their images specifically for this keyword.
So to be clear, the way you would read this graph, and this is a question, not a statement, just to make sure I got it right. So under factor docs there, that's the factors that most strongly correlated with page 1, spot 1 rankings on this particular query.
Yes.
And then on the right-hand side where you find your website, you see how you are structured for this. And you can see what work you need to do to come into focus with everybody else and what they're doing to be on page 1.
Correct. And if you don't know which one is yours, you just go to the results tab, look up your website. I saw that it's 52. I go back over to the overview, result 52. That column has all of my factor measurements in it.
Right, so it automatically sets it up for you and tells you, so that it provides a work list for you. This is exactly what you want to do in exactly the order you want to do it. As far as correlation is concerned, these are the factors that correlated. Any possible factor we could check, and we're checking over 400. Yes. These are the factors that correlated most strongly with rankings on the left-hand side under factor docs there. And this is a work list. This is exactly what you want to do and the frequency to which you want to do it. You want to have, in terms of image backlinks, you want 4, right? More or less, because that's what result number 1 had.
Yeah.
In terms of has image backlinks, on page number of hreflangs, you want to, which one is that? Which one is that having hreflang set up?
Yeah. This is on page number of hreflangs. And so most of the top pages aren't doing that. The average was 5.6. So there must be some sites selling internationally.
Right. So one of the sites is selling internationally. So if you're selling internationally, you definitely have to do that. It will definitely correlate with higher rankings. On-page meta description, you definitely need to have a meta description filled out so that people are getting a good sales blurb and want to click through to your site. Has no follow backlinks. Now, this is an interesting one. The no follow backlinks. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
That is the backlinks measurement coming from Ahrefs that's specifically attributed to no follow notation. So we're looking basically at the no follow backlinks, and I've seen this in many keywords where this comes up, and it just, you know, that argument, do no follow backlinks, do those have value? Well, they correlate strongly. They do. You know, I don't see much evidence that they are worthless. So the people that are saying who cares about no follow links, they correlate rather strongly with ranking position. So I wouldn't write them off at all. It might be the case that they're only partial credit, or it's possible that they might be full credit and Google's been bluffing all along about that.
Right.
Who knows? But the data says that they appear to move the needle in terms of rankings.
In this particular case, they had on average, page one had on average 141 no follow backlinks. I think the point of what we're talking about here is that when you do enough of these, when you get the software and you do enough of these, and you're doing SEO, and you do enough of these reports again and a wide variety of searches, you start to see that a no follow backlinks very often correlates with high rankings, page one rankings. Whereas if it was a non-factor, it would seem to be random. It would be 50-50, or it would be less than 50-50.
That's correct. And when things appear random, they don't get a strong correlation coefficient, and they wouldn't be orange. They wouldn't be at the top. So the fact that there is a strong correlation coefficient that's statistically significant, that means something. And what it means is you need to consider it in the among the possible things that you need to be spending time on.
Definitely, and I like it because there's no risk in getting no follow links, because Google won't admit that they have any ranking power. They can't tell you not to get them, right?
Yep.
That's kind of what I like about the new way of doing black hat, if I could call it black hat, is that it's not technically black hat if it's not against the guidelines, and if they can't admit it's a ranking factor, then they can't put it against the guidelines, and so that way it can't be black hat technically. I don't know, Clint, do you agree with that or disagree?
I use no follow links all the time, but I tell people they don't work either because it makes my competition a lot easier. So
there you go.
Not, honestly,
then we get into the misinformation we need to do in SEO.
Exactly. Honestly, I've ranked web pages just using YouTube backlinks in the description, and those are all no follow. So I have not followed the course where everyone says that they're worthless and they're seeking just do follow links. I've always used no follow and seen great results with them. So that doesn't surprise me at all seeing that in here.
And I would agree. And that's another great. There's so many good things that comes out of this software. One, it can be used as a scientific verification for your opinions, right? We have all these hypotheses that we're like, oh, we think this is a factor, this is not. We can check again and again and again, and you start to get some actual scientific data to back up what it is we're seeing or what it is we're thinking. One, two, you can use it to prove or disprove myths, right? Ted and I are thinking of going to SMX Advanced in June in about a month, a little bit more than a month. SMX Advanced is going to be in Seattle June 12th to 14th, was it, Ted, I think?
Yep.
And we're thinking of, Ted's definitely going, and if I can join him, I definitely will. And we're going to have a booth, and we're going to be trying to test out people's SEO myths. So we're going to say, okay, what do you think is a ranking factor for what's your search query? What do you think is a ranking factor for it? And do you think you know the ranking factors for it, the most powerful ranking factors? And we're going to test it in the software. And we're actually going to see if those ranking factors are what comes up on the column there on Ted's report.
Yep, and I plan to be helping people the whole show. So if you have a keyword that you'd like to have done in person and not on the internet, then come stop by the booth and I'll help you out right there in person.
Fantastic. Let's look at some of the graphs that you were showing in the reports that you did previously, Ted, because some of them looked really interesting there.
Okay. These are some of the graphs for some of the new factors in version 2. So number of backlinks, surprise, surprise, they are very strong correlation. If people say backlinks don't matter anymore, the data really tells a different story.
I don't know who would say that.
Not me.
.edu backlinks, that's a metric that's also in Ahrefs, and it appears to correlate as well. I don't know that it correlates any stronger than a regular backlink, but they do appear to move the needle.
Now, keep in mind, I don't know if you noticed, but by looking at these graphs, the search query he's looking at right here is SEO software. So just imagine all of the black hat SEO is trying to rank for SEO software, and all the black hat tactics have been used ever since 2001 for SEO software, and that might explain some of the correlations you see as well.
Very true. No follow backlinks, touching on that again, they appear to be very relevant.
And they're also relevant for page 2, and there's a nice clear glide from page 3 to page 2 to page 1. So that's very interesting. And also, I noticed something very interesting. You notice there's always a bump. There's often a bump at page 3 or page 4 or page 8.
Well, that's
like
that's the thing about factor measurement charts, which is what this is. Factor measurements can have outliers, and when you calculate a correlation coefficient, it handles the outliers properly. It normalizes the data so that the outliers don't affect the correlation score. So you'll see in these charts when outliers exist, they'll be there. But just note that when we do the correlation, it's all normalized properly for calculating the correlation coefficients. The outliers do exist in the world.
Okay, is this still SEO software we're looking at, or is it cars?
Cars. These are from multiple keywords because not all keywords, correlate strongly with all factors.
Right. Okay. So, folks, when we're looking at these graphs, make sure you look at the top left-hand side of the chart just to see what niche he was working in, what search query he was working in for that. Yeah,
and you always need to measure for your target search term. Don't ever take advice that's just general. Your blog post needs to have a 5,000 word article. Well, maybe that might be entirely too much or nowhere near enough. You really need to measure if you want to achieve competitive parity.
Right. I really like that. That's the important thing, because SEO Moz and Search Metrics, they do these 10 million page correlations, which are interesting, but they're way too general across the board. They're doing no queries, no do queries, and just sales queries, local queries, and global queries. They're normalizing all of that into kind of like a hegemony, and it really makes it, as Ted said, it could really give misleading advice. Like, you think because you are doing a blog about you're doing a local chiropractor site, you should have articles on there that are 5,000 words long. Or when people just want to buy something, you're giving them a 5,000 word article, and then the conversion form at the bottom of the article. I guarantee that's a bad idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Do follow backlinks. They matter as well. Nice smooth curve.
Who would have thunk that?
Image backlinks. RSS backlinks. So I know you've often been shy about telling people to do syndication, and in fact, I know you warned people off of it, and I think that's genuinely and generally true advice. But here's some data saying that the RSS backlinks to pages matters.
Yeah, or at least it correlates for SEO tools. Yeah.
Yep. AMP. So version 2 is looking for AMP notation. So if it matters, we'll find out. So far, it looks like, A, most people don't use it. So B, there's not enough data to really make a determination. If it is a factor right now, it's extremely weak, but odds are not enough people in the world use it for us to get a good result.
Right. The guy from Google who created it, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was on a John Mueller hangout. The way he talked about it, it was a fait accompli. Like, obviously, AMP is going to give you a ranking boost. I mean, that's just the way he talked about it. And John Mueller kept kind of trying to correct him in the middle of his hangout and just gave up. He just kept talking about, oh, of course the AMP results will be boosted up and they will get priority, blah 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 blah. So it was pretty interesting.
Well, what we see from this chart is that pages 3+ don't use it at all, and only 10% of the results on pages 1 and 2 used it. So one result on each page.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's a very strong factor if the guy who used it on page 2 is still on page 2. So,
right. And not enough people really for us to say yet.
Yeah, exactly. Term frequency. So this is half of the TF-IDF algorithm. If you're familiar with it, it's a quotient where term frequency is the numerator and IDF is the denominator. So term frequency is the power piece, and it correlates strongly with rank position. I believe this is evidence that Google is in fact TF-IDF based. Maybe not exactly, maybe they have a variation of the algorithm, but in spirit, they are using something like TF-IDF. And this correlates in like every keyword I've checked. So it's very strong.
So what's the takeaway from that, Ted?
Well, here's TF-IDF, and this is an example of it not correlating. So we've seen it in our live example, it was correlating. Here's an example for cars where it's not correlating. And I'm still formulating my opinion on the IDF part. I wonder if the estimation of the number of results for a search term is not accurate, which would mess up the correlation. And I also wonder on search terms like cars, if there might be manual curation of the results, which would also ruin the correlations.
Yeah.
So, you have to think about it, and this is, a new factor, and I'm still, investigating and thinking about it.
Yeah, and you keep in mind that we're playing with a stacked deck. So Google's query deserves diversity. They can cherry pick results and stick them in there wherever they want that might not have any of the correlation factors that all the rest of the stuff has. But you can kind of pick, when you eyeball it, you can pick those out. Look, that's a video result. That's a Wikipedia result. Okay, you can just kind of factor those out and look at the rest of them.
In layman's terms, how would you fix that? Let's say it did matter. In layman's terms, where would you go to add to make that actually, to bump it up?
Well, to affect your TF-IDF score, it's all about your match counts. So you need to have the right words, the words that Google considers hits. Mm-hmm. You need to have those on the page in the right proportion to be competitive with your page 1 competitors. So I would start by measuring the page 1 competitors, visit their sites, and find out how they're getting their match counts as high as they are without running afoul of Google.
So, and again, for clarification, match counts would be the use of cars and then all those other terms that you found in the match counts at the top of the sheet. Yeah,
exactly. Let's see, let me go back to that briefly. So yeah, this was a search for Los Angeles plastic surgeon, and it found surgery surgeon, plastic surgeons. It didn't care about the plural form, different variations, Los Angeles plastic. So, there are lots of things that Google will consider hits. I think a better example than this one is if you Googled DUI lawyer Los Angeles. That gives you a lot of the LSI hits that Google recognizes.
Okay.
Right. Driving on the influence and all those, driving drunk driving. Not that I know anything about those things, and hopefully Chase doesn't either. Chase had to go run to the doctor. He found too many SEO secrets, and now he has a burning sensation.
Twitter card integration. It appears to be a weak factor, but a factor nonetheless. There's a new type of match in version 2 called the exact search term match. And that limits the matches to exactly the keyword you're targeting and nothing else. So when you see that, that's what's happening there.
And in this particular search, it had no correlation.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like Google in general is a broad match kind of thing. So
it looks like it. Keep in mind the search query you did was breast cancer, and that's a your money or your life. That's a health-based search, and so that's what I just talked about. The query deserves diversity. That's a search query where they will very heavily cherry pick results and put it on the first page. They have special algorithms and another whole other bunch of humans and teams just for health results to make sure that they're accurate. And
if they're doing manual curation on a search term, then the correlations will never be strong because they won't be there.
Right.
Domain matches in the title tag. So this came out of a forum question where somebody said, does brand matter in the title tag? And I was like, wow, that's a really good question. So I added factors to the software to check for it. So this particular factor is looking for the present name in the page title. And for gift baskets, which is an e-commerce keyword, it matters. But I'm not surprised by that because of how prevalent the title pattern of keyword hyphen brand is. An amazing amount of businesses use that to great effect.
Okay, but maybe I'm reading the table wrong there, Ted, but doesn't it show that it matters for page 2 rankings, but for page 1, I mean, I guess overall it goes up from page 10.
Yeah, you have to keep in mind the correlation is a trend line, and the trend line is it's an upward trend.
Maybe that would be a nice thing, like in a dotted line. We can make like a dotted line for the trend line.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'd like to figure out how to do that and plot it in. So
I'm not sure Excel would let you do that.
Knows how to calculate and plot the trend line. Let me know.
Yeah. Any Excel masters out there?
It's simple. It's not too complicated.
How would you do it, Steve?
Inch bugs.
There we go. Fantastic. Thanks, Steve.
And
I'm surprised Steve is still awake after all this SEO discussion we've been having here.
I'm loving it.
This factor is the sibling to that last one, because you know how sometimes Google will rewrite your title for you for the search results?
When you spell it wrong?
Well, this is checking that. So up here, here's what you put in your title tag, but here's what Google showed as your title in the search result. And so they're different graphs, so you can see the amount of influence Google has on putting your domain into that title. So
what kind of practical solutions do we get from that in writing our title tags?
Well, for one, I guess if you don't want to put your brand in the title tag, Google will do it for you, and this is evidence that that's happening, at least some of the time. But it's also evidence that Google wants it there, because here it is, those valleys don't have the domain and the title tag, and here's Google putting them in for you.
Right.
So Google clearly wants it there. So maybe there's advantage to not making Google rewrite your title. I don't know yet, but clearly this is evidence that Google wants it there.
Yeah, I guess this is important to say that this is an advanced SEO tool, right? This is not just for people on Warrior Forum who want to learn to be SEOs in like a day. this is serious scientific SEO kind of tool where you can really get into the nitty gritty details of over 400 factors. And so this is how you separate the. I hate to use a gendered example. But this is how you separate the men from the boys, or the girls from the women, or the little transsexuals from the bigger transsexuals, or whatever it is. The amateurs from the pros. That's what. There we go. The amateurs from the pros.
Phrase this.
As Josh quickly makes an international incident, insulting people in the UK because of our terrible Scottish accents, insulting people across the world because of our gender insensitivity.
I sound just like I'm from Scotland. Got a kilt on and everything.
So this one would be a cousin to the last two factors. A domain phrase, like if your domain is moz.com, your domain phrase is moz, so less the top level domain. So just searching for that domain phrase in the title tag, and then again within the Google result text link. It's missing on some pages. Google filling it in. Filled in. So it's, again, you can see that Google is modifying those titles for brand.
That's interesting. I've often said that it's probably not a good idea to put your brand name in the titles just because I didn't see the use. And it's probably not helping your click-through rate. But I guess if people want to know that's your brand and it's a recognizable brand, that would be useful to put in there.
Well, because it's so common that people use keyword -brand, if Google wants the search results to look different, they need to do that.
Right.
Like for example, everyone selling gift baskets has a gift baskets category, and the title of the gift baskets category is probably gift baskets. And when you look at all of the result text from a gift basket search, I mean, it's 75, 80%, it's, keyword -brand. And so Google's trying to make the results look different. Reading grade level. So I'm actually doing the Flesch-Kincaid algorithms for reading ease and grade level, and they do appear to be weak factors. They're not strong. I always knew they were not strong, but I'm watching them. They're in the software. Here's reading ease, and less of this is better, so it's kind of why it's a weak inverse correlation.
Can you explain that a bit? So this is for best SEO software.
Yeah, the reading ease algorithm, lower score is better, is my understanding. I might be wrong. I probably have to double check that. But the problem with readability, these algorithms, I've looked into them a great deal, is I've decided they weren't an important factor for SEO. I still stand by that. They're based largely on the number of syllables in a word. So a word with more syllables is more complex and a higher reading grade level.
Right.
But there's a lot of problems with that when you cross cultures and when you cross like age relevancy. Like there's a whole lot of kids in the world who know what a cartoon is, but there's a lot of young kids who would have no idea what a cherub is, but they have the same number of syllables and they're considered the same reading difficulty. And so I think readability is generally flawed because of how those algorithms are created.
Yeah, our group tested readability, and it wasn't a factor on the tests. So,
yeah, I concur with that.
Yeah.
But it's in the software.
Somebody asked in the comments if Google is going to toss your brand in there anyway for the title and the SERPs. then why not use whatever title you want and let them choose what piece that Google wants?
They may not do it all the time. And if your title exactly matches somebody else, you run the risk of being filtered out of the results for being a practical duplicate, if not an exact. They don't want a bunch of results that look exactly the same in their search results. That's
a good point. That's interesting. I would look at it from more of a click-through rate perspective. I want to control that title to make it as clicky, as clickable as possible, to entice people to click it, to get them to click on that result and go down there. Just like making an ad. I'm sure Steve will agree. Yeah. It has to be as
clicky. It's all about clicky. You want it really clicky.
Exactly. You want to make that ad as enticing as possible to make sure people click it to go to your page.
But if Google's going to rewrite it and put the brand in there anyway, then why take the risk?
I would make it short. So I would make it. I would try to control the front part of it at the very least. I found that I don't know about you guys. Maybe this is something we can debate. But I found that if you make sure that the title is very relevant to the topic at hand, they typically do not rewrite it, and they typically let your title stand. But if I have a lot of extraneous stuff in my title, they'll remove that, and they can put the brand there.
Yeah, and by far the number one title pattern I find, and I've done quite a bit of looking, is search term hyphen brand. That seems to be the winning title that ranks well and is most common.
See, I've always just done that from a practical perspective when I'm trying to build that brand entity, and it's brand new. The site's brand new. It's a new company, and I want to help boost that establishment. That's really why I'm doing it. And then when it comes to like blog posts and stuff, I don't add that hyphen brand name part to it. So it's really good to look at it from this perspective and say, all right, that makes sense now. I should be doing it for X keyword, and I don't have to do it for Y keyword. This makes it
and I agree with that completely. Like in a blog where you're targeting a question or something longer tail, I'd want to get the whole question in if I could and forget brand.
Okay, so sorry guys, so we're coming up on the final few minutes here. Thanks Ted very much for that. Again, your software is super powerful, very impressive. It really will separate out the amateurs from the pros. I'll use that one instead of the small transgender people to the larger transgender people.
Send your emails to Josh at.
Send your emails too. Yeah. Make sure to follow me on Facebook. See, Steve, I put it in there. Make sure you flame me on Facebook about how I just offended you about both Scotland and transgender people. If you have any, moving right along, if you have any questions before we close out, please ask them here in the chat. Mark asked another question. He said, what he is finding is for the homepage, Google's replacing the front of his title more with brand. That's interesting. For me personally, I'd have to take a look at it, but I'd say then your titles must be completely and utterly useless and or duplicated from somebody else.
Yep, for sure. I've never seen that. So you're really in an oddball niche, or you're really screwing up your title tag somewhere.
And there's a great reason why you'd want to add brand in yourself, so Google doesn't do it its own way that you won't like.
So Trevor asks, if I have version 1 of the software and are paying monthly for it, and he says he loves it, that's great, thanks Trevor. He asked, do I just log in and download version 2?
Yeah, go back to the install links that were sent to you. It's there and ready right now.
All right, fantastic. Here's an interesting question. Does anyone have a virtual assistant recommendation for guest post outreach? Mine is doing 400 outreach emails for $100.
That's actually pretty good for that kind of work. If they're doing it right and they're trained right, that's pretty good price actually. I'd keep that guy.
Straight from the expert who is literally wearing a black hat, so he knows.
He knows if you don't want to pay that guy the $100 anymore, you send him my way. I'll pay him $100 all day long.
There you go. You can find anything on this SEO show. You can be offended. You can get work. You can be amused.
advice, sort of.
You can find the SEO secrets in Santa Barbara. You can go to the doctor with Chase.
Asiago salad.
You can eat your Asiago salad. All right, thanks, folks. So that about wraps it up for today. This has been White Hat versus Black Hat SEO show. I would like to thank my guests, as always. Clint Butler, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Ted Kubitis, thank you for presenting your software to us.
Can I get you to provide a link in the description?
I can do that, yes. So we have the special link that we do.
Yep.
All right, so for my viewers, I'll be happy to provide you with a special link for 25% off. If I can find it somewhere, I'll put it in the description. No, these are kinds of things that normally you would set up ahead of time. No, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Just go with it.
Yeah.
So, and Ted, can you tell us a little bit more about your software while I'm looking for this?
Well, I'm working on it constantly. I've got more factors that I want to get in for version 2.5. And like I said, if I can work it out with Majestic, I hope to get them integrated as well.
I have a feature suggestion too, if you're looking for those.
Yeah.
So a lot of us are in local. You as you know, what I'm using it for is the local and providing the keyword research like you're doing on the site. So I'd like to be able to specifically search from a city. So as you know, like local search results for Seattle are different from LA, and I'd like to be able to do that where I'm searching for, let's say, SEO Seattle and seeing the Seattle results versus the LA results, if that makes sense.
So the only way off the top of my head that I could work that out, with my understanding, Google took away our ability to spoof locations from the URL. So I think what we'd have to do is support proxies, and then you'd get a regional proxy server, and then you should be local.
I still have a script, a bookmark script, this JavaScript that's doing it. So I'll send you that JavaScript and let you look at it. Maybe you can figure how to add that into it.
Yeah. If there's a cool trick, then sure, I'll work on putting that in.
Yeah. Okay. I'll hook you up with that JavaScript so you can see it.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. If no one else has any other questions, Jeremy asked what I was drinking. I was drinking brownie caramel cream root beer. It's fantastic. I highly recommend it. It's made in Washington, Mukilteo, Washington State.
It's
Makaleka High.
I don't know. I'm Canadian. I can't pronounce
your bills too, Josh.
American town names there. You can see it there. It's fantastic. Okay, guys, thanks very much. Join us next week for another show of White Hat versus Black Hat SEO show, where Chase will maybe be an SEO investigator in your town and go to your Whole Foods and eat your Asiago chicken. So with that, I'd like to say goodbye. And if you need any Facebook work, if you have any Facebook questions, please contact Steve. If any questions about the software, you can contact either myself or Ted. If you need any kind of special crazy Black Hat stuff, Clint is the Black Hat man to go to. If you need SEO audits or advice or any kind of White Hat SEO stuff, you can email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. And that's it. Bye.
Yeah.